Hello, everyone, and welcome to your weekly spirit messages this week for Valentine's week. And I cringe saying that because I am not romantic in the least at all. Like, even me and my husband, we do not celebrate Valentine's Day. We never have. We don't even celebrate anniversaries. So this will be an interesting one for me. But I do know that there are a lot of romantics out there, a lot of people who are interested in love and relationships. So when I pull the cards this week, it's going to be more focused on that. Don't mind my dog in the background. She's had some health stuff come up recently. So just trying to keep her nearby me so she feels nice and safe. So also just want to reiterate that I mention this a lot throughout my podcast when I do the monthly spirit messages, and then also many times through the weekly ones, that when I'm pulling these cards, I do not feel like I am talking to everyone in the world, every human or humankind or person in the world. I'm not thick enough to think that. What I do believe is that the work that I do on behalf of the world of spirit, they align people to view these messages. And I know that might only be 50 people or 100 people, or even only like 3 people who the messages resonate with. And that's fine for me. If I only help one person through these spirit messages, or if I only inspire one person through these messages, it's success for me. So I trust that spirit is guiding me through doing this work, and that they align the right people to these messages when they need it the most. So I just want to say that because there has been some criticism around people who do energy forecasts or spirit messages, thinking that we're trying to blanket everybody under one blanket. And I have seen the divine intelligence here, because I've had people who say they haven't tuned in for like 3 months, and then the one that they listened to kind of like moved them and inspired them. And so that's kind of why I do this. And I do trust and I do hope that whoever needs to hear these messages needs to hear them, and they are helpful in some way. So let's get started on the romance stuff. Again, way out of my realm of expertise. Been married for 12 years, but once again, we have never been romantic in any way. We just are just love each other's company. What can I say? So let's see what's on the docket for relationships. Okay. I'm just going to pull a couple cards. Again, I'm using Yasmin Boland's Moonology deck. It's one of my favorite decks to do forecasts with. And okay, so let's just wait to see how this is going to come up. So for some of you, what spirit is making me feel, and this is for the people who are coupled, I feel like this is going to be for people who are coupled. I feel like there is, a lull. All marriages and relationships go through ebbs and flows, like anything else in this life. Everything is very cyclic, but spirit is making me feel that things are on the upward spiral. There are a lot more cohesive, and compatible conversations being had. And I do feel that there is almost like this returning of love, this like returning of acceptance, and this returning of, upwards momentum when it comes to relationships. I also get a very peaceful feeling with this card. You can see the imagery here. It makes me feel very peaceful. So I feel like for some people, I have to say that some people like a little bit of conflict, like a little bit of rockiness to come up, because it makes people feel alive. And sometimes when we grow up with rocky relationships modeled for us, or things were not very consistent at home, and then all of a sudden we find ourselves in this relationship that is kind of consistent. For some who are going to hear this message, you're going to recognize that sometimes you might rock the boat a little bit, because that a little bit of chaos is a little bit more comfortable than consistency. So again, a couple of you might resonate with this, that peace is okay. It's okay to have things a little boring. It's okay to have things a little bit peaceful. And you are just as safe in the state of peace as you are in the state of conflict. So I do trust that that will land with some people. I also feel like there's some negotiations happening at home. I'm going to do it this way here. And so you see the scales being balanced. This is really kind of understanding that there is a need for a balanced approach. So this is a win-win solution. When I compare it to what's happening in my life right now, we're dealing with either putting money towards the roof or the attic or the kitchen. Of course, I want the kitchen. My husband's into the structure, right? So I'm trusting, just based off me pulling this card, that coming into this week, there is going to be some sort of resolution that's going to make everybody happy. And I just trust that because I pulled this card. And so I look forward to that. I don't know what you got going on in your relationships, or you need to hear that the win-win kind of meeting in the middle, meeting both people's needs, is kind of going to be what's going to end up being for the highest and greatest good of the relationship. I also feel that this is for the people who are uncoupled. I need to say that about this. You can see this is like Cancer energy, so very emotional. I see the crab. There's a little bit of crabbiness kind of happening here, but there is this energy behind it's cyclic. It makes me feel like it's very cyclic. It makes me feel that there is an aspect of yourself that comes out in relationships that you don't really like, that you don't feel very great about. And so Spirit's making me feel that over this winter, there's been really deep healing around that kind of trigger, around that wound. And there's a resolution that's kind of coming from that from inside. And then that's going to be what's really going to attract the next person to come into your life and to bring forward this like energy of harmony, I feel, in a relationship. Because I feel like this, again, for a couple people, I'm sure, makes me feel that there's this kind of cycle of entering relationships and them ending after 2 or 3 months. And it's like the same thing keeps coming up for you. But that's an inside job that other people are just kind of like mirroring as part of this divine path of growth. And so I do feel that there has been a lot of personal work done there, and that moving forward, I do feel that like the next relationship or two that come in will be a lot more harmonious, and you won't see that same lesson come up. I do feel that very much, and that might actually come up this week. Well, so I just have to laugh because these cards like always kill me. So I got the romance card. A new romantic cycle is beginning. The new moon in Libra. Again, the balances are being shown here. So this again is kind of, I just feel like this is for the coupled and uncoupled. To be honest with you, I feel like it's both, but I feel like much like the first card kind of represents this upward swing of positive emotion and a positive experience in a relationship. I do feel that we're about to enter a very harmonious cycle with the people that we've chosen to spend our lives with, and with the people who we might just be getting to know, we might want to spend our lives with. But, you know, new moon is new beginnings. I do feel that there's an opportunity in your relationships for a fresh start. I do want to say that, of course, we are in Mercury retrograde, and that usually impacts our ability to communicate clearly, but also receive communication clearly. And so I just encourage you, if you do have, you know, conversations that need to kind of like initiate this new cycle, just to understand that that is kind of like the energy that we're dealing with heading into this week. It's going to be around just understand and be patient when you're communicating with your partner, maybe resolving, right? So a personal issue resolution here. Just watch your words carefully. Think about what you want to say before you want to say it. And when you're having somebody talk to you, and this relationship could even be colleague, could be boss, it could be, you know, it could be a client, it could be your partner. Just be careful with the words that you choose and how you string them together, because there's a lot of energy around lately, and especially this week, where people are like misunderstanding, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misunderstanding, which is classic retrograde energy. So be very patient and sympathetic when you're listening, and then just be very clear when you're communicating outwards. And that's going to create this new cycle of romance or peace and harmony in the relationships. That comes up quite a bit. So we also have, like, I've talked about this a couple times, and I don't remember talking about this very much in past spirit messages. So I know that this is going to be unique for this week, but again, tough cycles ending. So I know there's a lot of people this whole past week that have had like a really hard week, myself included. And I feel like things are really going to pick up next week in a much more positive way. So I think for some of us, there's been some tough lessons in this past week, some tough experiences that kind of shook us a little bit, showed us who we are, showed us where our resilience barometer is at. And I do feel that heading into this week is going to be a lot more peaceful. So pull one more card here. Again, just validating things that I'm saying. This is the Gemini card. Communication is key. This is a new moon. So again, what words are you carrying with you? Internal dialogue, what you're saying to other people, understanding that words are very vibrational, and people feel that at an energetic level. So choosing your words very carefully. And again, just communication this week is going to be really key, and being a lot more mindful of your communicating and your communication style and your communication skills. And it's also a perfect time to actually assess how you're communicating out in the world. Like, what kind of things are you sharing on Instagram and social media? Are you inspiring others? Are you impacting others? Is there an opportunity here to kind of like refine so that your message lands a little bit clearer for people? Take a look at that this week. It's going to be good energy for that. So that's your weekly spirit messages. Wasn't as painful as I thought, wasn't as romantic as I thought. If you do love romance, I have to shout out my friend Intumi. If you go on to, I'll link her social media below. She's giving me a free astrology reading today. So by the time you actually receive this message tomorrow, it will be on my IGTVs, but she's going to give me a free astrology reading. But she actually specializes in romance astrology. So if you're into relationships, if you're into finding the one, or into keeping the one, or into making your marriage or relationship as harmonious as possible, she's kind of the person you want to talk to. So I'm going to link her Instagram below so you can check her out. She's a sweetheart. She's a good friend of mine, and she's got the romance vibe. So you go hang out with her if you're into the romance. But whatever happens for you this week, I hope you are spending it with people you love. I hope that you are doing something that lights you up.